It's CouchPotatoGM.com. I'm CPGM Drew. I'm bringing you the way too early mock draft, picks 11 through 20. If you're looking for the top 10 picks, that was by CPGM Juice. It is located on the website, CouchPotatoGM.com, as well as there's an audio version on the YouTube channel, Couch Potato General Manager. Go ahead and hit a like and a subscribe when you go there to check it out. Pick number 11 is the Miami Dolphins. Calvin Ridley, wide receiver, Alabama. Now, there are many of you out there screaming your heads off. Why are we picking a wide receiver? Why are we picking a wide receiver? You know, for me, the best guard is already off the board in Quentin Nelson. And then linebacker for me right now is the value isn't there. So why not go with the best wide receiver on the board to replace Jarvis Landry, who I believe isn't coming back. Right now he's feeling disrespected that the Dolphins haven't made a move to sign him back. He is the reception king, but I think he adds a little bit more to his game than Jarvis Landry in that when the ball's in his hands, you know, things happen. Get your popcorn ready, as Terrell Owens would say, and this would be a great addition to the Miami Dolphins. I know he doesn't have the crazy production you would like from a college wide receiver, but again, he played for Alabama, and we know Alabama, you know, they make the most. Those receivers usually make the most of their opportunities, and if he were to get 2/3 of what Jarvis Landry got, you know, in a Dolphin uniform, I believe Calvin Ridley would do so much more damage. Number 12, the Cincinnati Bengals. Offensive tackle, Connor Williams from Texas. During last offseason, the Bengals let walk Kevin Zeitler and Andrew Whitworth, who, in my recollection, had pretty good seasons for the teams that they signed for. 2 games into the season, the Bengals fired offensive coordinator Ken Zampese, and Bill Lazor took his place. Not sure it made that much bit of a difference because the Bengals in many offensive categories finished in the bottom 4th in the league, even adding the talented deep threat John Ross from Washington last year, as well as Joe Mixon, the talented running back. Listen, one can only assume that when you add those 2 top talents along with the Hall of Famer in A.J. Green across the way from John Ross, you figure that the offense would have a spike in potency, yards, points. That didn't happen, and so one can only assume that the issue has to be offensive line, right? And you know, you lost, like I said earlier, Andrew Whitworth, and I feel like Connor Williams would be a fantastic addition and a fantastic replacement. And just remember that coming into this college season, by many scouts, Connor Williams was the #1 ranked offensive lineman. Number 13, the Washington Redskins, safety Derwin James. So what's going on in that Washington secondary? There seems to be a lot of, unsureness. You have a Breland, who is he coming back? Is he not coming back? You have the safety DJ Swearinger. He's a journeyman. You have D'Angelo Hall, who was moved there. Was it two seasons ago, and has been hurt the past 2 seasons. And then you talk about Josh Norman, the big time paid corner, who many feel might be over the hill, or Father Time has caught up to him, and he's not quite the player that he used to be. So bringing in a player or drafting a player like Derwin James, who at his best is coming downhill in the box, coming off the edge, blitzing, playing in the slot. To me, safety is a new versatility. And you can liken them to players like Jamal Adams or Marcus May. Coaches these days like their safeties to be interchangeable. And I think that Derwin James is a piece. I think at FSU, he wasn't utilized to the best of his ability all the time. Again, I feel like he's a better player in the box. I'm not 100% sure that he can play free safety like some think he can, the Earl Thomas type sideline to sideline. I haven't seen it enough there at FSU, and he also was injured. Don't forget about that. but I think he's a hell of a player, and I think the best is yet to come for him. Number 14, the Green Bay Packers, offensive tackle, Orlando Brown from Oklahoma. Now, I know when you think about the Green Bay Packers, the first thing that comes to people's mind is Aaron Rodgers, and he's the best quarterback in the league. He does a lot of running around, playing sandlot football, but he can drop the ball on a dime anywhere, anytime on the field. And bringing in a player like Orlando Brown, I feel like can anchor the other side of the line, the right tackle, because right now, if I'm not mistaken, the player that plays that slot at the moment is a practice squad player, or came off the practice squad at this moment. And so I think adding a player like Orlando Brown can anchor that right side, and you have Bakhtiari on the left-hand side. And the thing is Brown isn't unfamiliar territory in terms of having a quarterback who can run around and make plays and make things happen downfield, forcing you as an offensive lineman to stay on your blocks a little bit longer, maybe playing a little bit unorthodox. Again, that's something that Brown is, that's something he'd be familiar with, playing with Baker Mayfield out there at Oklahoma. And let's not forget that Rodgers has been hurt for the past 2 seasons. This past season being the worst, obviously. So I think the Packers need to get back to protecting Aaron Rodgers, the franchise, because we know what it looks like without him. It was of that Peyton Manning level when Peyton Manning hurt his neck and they were rolling out the Dan Orlovskis of the world. So I think Brown would be a perfect addition for what they need on that offensive line. Number 15, the Arizona Cardinals, quarterback, Lamar Jackson, Louisville. Now, Arizona Cardinal fan has had the likes of Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer, Carson Palmer, who, couldn't stay healthy, while he was there. And in part is due to the offensive line that was there and that's in place at the current moment. But let's pick the position that's the franchise position, because in my opinion, the defense is somewhat ready to go. And what's holding them back right now is the quarterback position. We saw what that looked like this past season without a Carson Palmer. They got the likes of Larry Fitzgerald running around out there, John Brown, Jerron Brown, the Browns. And obviously they hurt. David Johnson was hurt, should be coming back this season healthy. And I think adding the likes of a quarterback with the talents and the abilities and attributes of a Lamar Jackson is something that the Cardinals sorely lack, and it's something the Cardinals fans I don't think have seen in forever. Now, obviously, drafting a Lamar Jackson, you want to pair him with a coach who can continue his essential nuances of learning the position and the things of that nature. Because the one thing I can say about Lamar Jackson is that since he's been in college, he has improved year to year to year, getting better and getting better and getting better. One can only imagine if he gets with an actual NFL coach, can teach him some things and get him better in the things that he struggles with. And one of those things, obviously, is his footwork. But he has that that you want in a quarterback. Number 16, the Baltimore Ravens, wide receiver James Washington from Oklahoma State. Now, I'm not a Joe Flacco fan in any stretch of the imagination, but as a Ravens fan, you got to get him some help. I know, you have the one-trick pony and Mike Wallace, the open field prowess of a Jeremy Maclin, and the always injured, not sure, Bashard Perriman. The one thing that James Washington has over Perriman is that there is the production from year to year. He has the same quality as a Jeremy Maclin in terms of open field prowess, getting open and making things happen in the open field. And he has the speed of a Mike Wallace. I'm not sure why you wouldn't want this guy. This seems like a 2 + 2 = 4 type of draft pick here. I know maybe others are thinking Calvin Ridley, or a Sutton from SMU. But I think this is a perfect match. It's a match made in heaven, in my personal opinion. Again, I want to make this very clear that James Washington, to me, is more than just a deep threat. Number 17, Los Angeles Chargers, quarterback Mason Rudolph. Oklahoma State. I just want to ask Chargers fan, how long do they think Phillip Rivers is going to be playing in the league? 2, 3 more years? I don't know. Maybe this will be his last year coming into 2018. I'm not sure. But I think that adding a Mason Rudolph and allowing him to sit and learn behind a Phillip Rivers, and I know that's not the sexy pick you want to do with your first round pick. That's not the excitable thing to do. But it's not always the best to draft a quarterback and then play him right away. And this is a team that you don't have to do that. You can let him sit, and maybe he gets the Aaron Rodgers treatment, and maybe he can come out and win games, when he's ready and like an Aaron Rodgers. The Chargers have a lot of weapons, more than most teams, with a hell of a running back in Melvin Gordon, and all the wide receivers that they have on that team from all different types. I think this might be another match made in heaven pick. The one thing that Mason Rudolph does do well is throw the deep ball, so just keep that in mind. Also, another name that could have gone here, at the current moment, he's not quite there, but I think after, scouts dig a little bit deeper and his name gets out there, is Tremaine Edmonds for Virginia Tech, the linebacker. I know that's a position of need for the Chargers, so just keep that name in mind as well. Number 18, the Seattle Seahawks, cornerback, Joshua Jackson from Iowa. Believe you me, I understand that the Seahawks need... Their greatest need is that offensive line, but again, the value here isn't there, so let's not reach. With the uncertainty of a Richard Sherman coming back with all the money that he's owed, is Earl Thomas, does he want to go to Dallas? How about Cam Chancellor? Is he coming back? Is he, what's going on there? So in my opinion, I think that you go for one of the money positions. You have a quarterback. The left tackle isn't there, so let's go for that other money position in cornerback. And Joshua Jackson, who at Iowa played predominantly cover 3. He is a zone guy. He is a guy who is at his best when he's looking at the quarterback, looking at the ball to make plays on it. He has hella ball skills. I think he's a perfect fit. He has a little swagger about him. And I think he's a perfect fit for that Seattle defense and that locker room. I also want to add, anytime you're drafting an Iowa player, they seem to be coached very, very well. So just think of all the names that have come out of that school and the way they play college football. If you're not a Big Ten guy, I'm not, but I watch, plenty of college football, and players that come from that school seem to have an understanding and a willingness, and they pick up things rather quickly. Number 19, the Dallas Cowboys, defensive tackle Daron Payne from Alabama. Right now the Dallas Cowboys have a hell of a player in DeMarcus Lawrence, who has 14.5 sacks, and a David Irving who has 7 sacks this past season. I feel like if you were to pair them with a Daron Payne, who in my estimation is just a straight up a bully, and he's violent at the point of attack. He has a bit of quickness off the line of scrimmage. He can take on double teams with pretty much ease. And he's a space eater. To keep blockers off of, the likes of Sean Lee and Jalen Smith and I know that the Cowboys have a young secondary that needs pass rush help, and I feel like Daron Payne can pretty much do it all at this point. This opportunity can't be passed up with this guy. There's too much. There's uber talent pouring out of this young man. And it would be a damn shame if the Cowboys went sexy here, like receiver, because I know that's a position of need. But I don't think that's something that you should jump at the 19th pick. I think that addressing the defensive line once and for all is something that the Cowboys need to take care of. Rob Marinelli can't continue from season to season to churn. What is that? How does that saying go? Chicken spit into chicken soup. You can only do that for so long, and you saw that this past season. Let's give them a player who brings a nastiness and a player who is going to affect the offense on every play. Number 20, the Detroit Lions, defensive end Harold Landry from Boston College. This pick is on the assumption, obviously, that Ziggy Ansah is going to be walking out the door, ready to get paid. I like this pick for the simple fact that Harold Landry, is an edge setter. He uses his length very well, and he has a high motor. Those types of guys you really can't pass up. And this is too much of a need for the Detroit Lions here. We know what that defense looks like when there is no pass rush. Hell, we know what any defense looks like when they don't have a pass rush. And this is too great of a need for the talent that's on the board at 20. So again, this is a 2 + 2 = 4 type of pick. If I'm a Lions fan, this is a player that I'm excited to have on my football team. And it looks like, maybe we could have gone running back here. But again, remember that this draft is a very, very deep running back draft. Again, this is CouchPotatoGM.com's Way Too Early Mock Draft. I'm CPGM Drew signing off.